There it goes. Hey, everybody. This is Astronomy Daily Live, and it is 2 hours UTC. There it goes. Oh, hey, everybody. Been doing that every single time. Astronomy Daily Live, and it is 2 hours UTC. I have to. Oh, hey, everybody. Been doing that every single time. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have to remember to kill my YouTube thing as this is all going. Hey there, Uncle Bill. Nice to see you in the chat. Hope all is well. Things are good here. It is definitely beginning to fall here. Definitely. There is definitely sort of a change in the weather. It's starting to feel a little bit more dry. And fall, you know, I like everything about this place, every single thing. But fall is probably the best season here. Because, you know, after the rains, the air is nice and clear. And, you know, it's been cloudy. I mean, even in this relatively dry year, this year, we still had, you know, all the clouds and whatnot. So it's been a pretty cloudy monsoon season here. Not too wet though. Not here. It was sort of west of us. Got a lot more rain. But yeah, it's just like tonight here. It's just an absolutely gorgeous night. Yeah, so very cool. In the panel once again is Bobby. What's going on, Bobby?
Hey, did you call Aurorae?
I did. I saw her in the chat as well. So welcome. Glad you could come in.
Welcome.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So yeah, come on in, friends. Let's sit back and think some astronomical thoughts for a little while here. We usually like to take, you know, maybe about an hour-ish or so. Try to aim for an hour, and usually goes over a little bit because, you know, when it comes to astronomy, it's like there is so much to think about and, you know, to talk about, and you can go really shallow, or you can go really deep, or somewhere in between. You can go very broad. Yeah, there's a lot of subject matter, and you know, as a result of that, when you
now during the re-entry, what's the difference between going too shallow and going too steep?
Well, I think if you come in too steep, then you're going to heat up too much, and you're going to burn up. And if you come in too shallow, you'll actually skip off the atmosphere, like throwing a rock, like on a lake, right? If you come in at a shallow angle, right, it's just going to skip. And so, yeah, there's a window, right? That's sort of the best angle. And, you know, all those things are calculated and whatnot.
And you don't see that now in, like, low Earth orbit, right?
Typically you won't. Most satellites these days they sort of have.
I'm talking about space, like shuttles and like the spacecraft that we got now that's carrying people to the ISS.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, you know, there are only two. Is there one or two organizations, I guess, that are bringing people to the space station? Both of those are going out out of Russia right now. The United States is has a couple of paths right now, and NASA for sure is planning to have people up there, launch from the United States sometime soon. But
Yeah, it's kind of
SpaceX.
crazy whenever they got rid of the space shuttle program.
Well, the shuttle was I don't know. It was. I mean, it's a it's it's an incredible. Um,
It's like great, but they had concerns even after the Columbia disaster.
yeah, the shuttle is really more science fiction than science. It's just what they wanted to do was just really, 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 really hard, and you know, there's a lot easier ways and a lot better ways of doing that. But they got it in their head, that they wanted to have a flying, reusable plane, and yeah, we're just not capable of doing that yet. The idea of reusability is definitely something that we're going to have to, seriously consider, um, because launching these rockets and just having them, either burn up in the atmosphere or splash down in the ocean, right, is just, I mean, it's pollution, and it's really expensive, right? It's really expensive just to dump all this stuff into the ocean, millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? So if you can
Now,
find a way, right, to reuse these things, then hopefully, in theory, right, the cost will come down.
so like whenever they were first getting started compared to now, what is the confidence of using the reusabilities and the cost of production?
Well, I think reusability is now a thing that pretty much everyone is going for, maybe except NASA, right? But in the commercial world, you need to go as high a quality as you can for the smallest amount, right?
So if NASA said that it's being expensive to use reusabilities, why other organizations are saying we can use them, and NASA is saying no?
NASA, uh, NASA needs to take a pretty close look at what it's doing and what kind of work it supports. I I don't think really that NASA should be in, not necessarily anymore in the going to the moon business, right? Even you know launch services where it's like, we've got a satellite that we want to launch, and who can do it, right? I don't necessarily think that NASA should be involved in any of that. Not anymore, at least. They should be, more in the support of like the research and the development, and sort of the new stuff, right? Try out the new stuff with public money, and then you know uh, patent it, or whatever you do, and then sell that information to commercial um, places that can actually do something with it, to benefit all.
Now, about that, Well, how long does it take until we can find out if we're going back to the moon or even going to Mars and beyond?
Yeah, one of the problems with with NASA's budget is that it's basically being changed every single year, and you know, that kind of work, that kind of research, development, testing, all of that, right? It takes much longer than a year. I recently heard about somebody talking about the idea of actually putting NASA on some kind of decadal review. So instead of, you know, um, sort of reviewing the budget and the goals and everything else for NASA every year, you would do it every 10 years instead, right? And, if you do that, that sort of removes the the annual hand wringing that has to go on, because you really don't know until it's signed, right? What the budget for, say, NASA um, is going to be, and if that changes every year, then and it's like, well, who knows, right? I mean, how can you plan anything that way? I mean, if the development um, of a new rocket, right, is going to take 8 years, right? Well, and so in year one, you're funded, right? Cool. Well, what happens in year 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, right? Could be anything at all. But if you had some kind of decadal review where it's done like every 10 years, it's like, okay, let's have this goal accomplished in the next 10 years, right? So yeah, I think that's probably where that should go.
And
Is that?
Automata has a point when if you check the chat.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Yeah, that's, and what she says there is exactly what I think too. NASA has an important role, but it probably shouldn't be, launching, uh, you know, communication satellites, right? It's like, okay, well, we know how to do that already. So, let's have NASA do sort of the head work, the hard work, um, and then spin those things off, right? I mean, you can do that. So I've got the coffee tonight, coffee for sure, and there's not much left. Not much left, but I do have the HOH here. Those 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen molecule. There's a bunch of other things in this too, right? It's not 100% pure. It's I would say pretty close, but not quite. There's a little bit instead of HOH. Sometimes there's some DOH or some DOD. Yeah, sometimes. But for the most part, HOH, the most incredible molecule in the universe. There's a lot of incredible ones, but HOH, oh yeah, top of the list. Cheers. Yeah, sometimes there's some deuterium in there. I don't think tritium. I think tritium is unstable, has a pretty short half-life, but deuterium is very stable. So some of those molecules in there have D's instead of H's.
You make your own drinking water. Do you condense it from the atmosphere or what?
No. I I just have a lot of fun with terminology. So no, this is definitely not homemade drinking water in any sense of the word. It is very, very, very good water though. So cheers.
So, you of course you think HOH is great. Your species evolved from it.
That's right. That's right. We've got this this incredibly strong bias for sure.
What's the difference between H2O and HOH?
It's a matter of perspective. That's it. There is absolutely no difference at all. Depends on how you look at it, right? So no, that's just me. I always have a lot of fun with that, and it's yeah. I started that years and years and years and years and years ago, and for some reason I just think it's funny, so I just keep doing it. So
And you just learn it yourself, or you learn it like from your parents and stuff?
oh no, I probably picked that up probably sometime in high school when I sort of realized, probably going through, some kind of homework thing or something that it sort of mentioned both of those different things, sort of like
So
a.
that would be science fair project that you'd be doing back in the elementary schools. Is that becoming your thing?
I suppose so. Yeah, I don't remember exactly where I picked that up, but yeah, no, it's just and what I like most is that it really puzzles people, and I sort of enjoy doing that. So yeah.
Okay. The first time I heard you talk about hydrogen hydroxide, I thought well, you were a little off in the deep end of the pool.
Exactly. Exactly. You absolutely nailed that, Atta. I am a little bit on the deep end. Just a little bit though. Just a little bit. All right, well cool. Let's see. Didn't really have any agenda tonight. That's you know that's the problem that I have every single day is it's not what to talk about, right? Because there's not much, right? It's sort of the opposite thing. There's so much.
Start by answering
Like,
this question: is when the heckle and choir are you really going to get that SDR play?
oh, I'm going to get it soon. I'm going to get it soon. Yeah, we're just yeah, we're actually probably sort of needing one now. So yeah, that's sort of the next thing on the agenda. So cool. All right. What should we do here? Atta talked about her experience at the astronomy club, and that sounded like you had a good experience there. Yeah, in fact, Atta, I was watching that just before going on to the live stream here, and I'm kind of interested. Since it's happening like now, right? I think he started maybe around like 1:30 UTC or so, and so yeah, I'm kind of interested in hearing what he has to say, and yeah, he's got as far as I know, as I recall, at least, and I'm gonna actually, I need to, let's just see. Oh, it doesn't show how many subscribers are on this, but he gets, let me look at the number of views on his videos. So he's getting, some of them are getting a couple of thousand views. So yeah, you know, pretty popular guy. I need to actually look at a few more of his things, but
I'm just out of curiosity. I believe like some people would like agree with that too about YouTube being tyrannical.
yeah,
He's having some sort of problems there with new upload content loads. YouTube is only on the most visible peak of the iceberg. Yeah, and Aurora's right. Geo's had some trouble in the beginning. Some idiot accused him of copyright violations. Fortunately, that was straightened out.
yeah.
That's why I think that's why some people quit. It's because of the abuse that YouTube can have, and that's why I quit, because of the abuse.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, you know. I mean, we're in a new era here, right? So, I mean, we're working all this out, and you know, is YouTube doing anything malicious? Probably.
You know, if you did listen to the Voice of Reporter a week, he had a problem with YouTube as well. He did like a food review of the ripping chicken from Popeyes, and then some dude just removed the video. He got the video back, but he did not receive an explanation of why the heck and why he took that video down.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I said, I I think that we're all so new to all of this that we really don't know what the parameters are. You know, what exactly is, you know, the what are the limits?
You used to
Right?
be a lawyer, Aurorae?
Cool. Everything was automated. Wow. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, everything is automated. There's no live person and stuff.
Huh. Reminds me.
And that's why YouTube could be now the most abusive thing that you can ever have.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think it's evolving, and I have a hard time with, any kind of malicious intent. That takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. It's really easy to be nice.
I think you told me that one time, Aurorae. Patent, trademark, and copyright law.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, we'll just sort of have to see. I mean, people who are trying to, either make a living off of this, or doing.
That's why I rarely see Facebook doing the same thing. Now, they might get you for copyright, but that's just about it for Facebook.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
And I asked just one time is, why would somebody would do like old TV shows and old movies and you're okay, but here you're doing like new shows, new movies, and it's not okay.
Right. Well. Yeah. I mean, even the stuff we do here, where I'm showing papers and all of that. That might be some kind of copyright violation. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though. I don't think so, because those.
And we're gonna chat about what Uncle Bill is saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to mention also. Yeah, okay, negligence, maybe, but I think it's growing pains, right? I mean, nobody knows exactly what we're doing, and so, as I said, I think we are trying to find the parameters uh, of this space, how to use it, uh, maybe not how best to use it, but it's like, okay, we've got this incredible tool that is doing these pretty amazing things. How do we work with it, right?
And
And
that's
so,
like selling your soul to the devil too.
yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about that. So, but once you start getting money from YouTube, they are in essence your employer, and they're sort of doing their
I think
part.
Ata has a point. I don't like the idea of a computer telling me I am breaking the law and I do not have the right to face my accuser.
Huh?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Because I had videos removed for no reason. And let me tell you something. If there was a way to sue YouTube, I'll be definitely joining that group.
Well, I mean, one could always do some kind of class action thing. Uh, you'd have to think about what exactly what what kind of transgression. I mean, you need to be specific. You need to point to their policy, point to their behavior, and say this ain't right. Um, so and maybe that's on its
That's why
way.
I wish I know who is really dumbing down, because we'll be definitely going to their channel and dumbing down their videos and telling a lot of stupid things about their stupid stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would hope, and YouTube actually
Uh,
was this for a long time. It was very open, right? It's just post anything at all, right? I mean, I remember.
a class. I like to know, how will a class action be difficult now?
Well, it's just because that could potentially involve, right? Well, maybe not millions of people, but thousands, and it just gets really complicated, right? I mean, it's not just one plaintiff, right? It's thousands of plaintiffs, and they all basically have to be on the same page, and yeah, it's just really difficult. But that is the way to do it. Either that, or keep on the pressure on
Yeah,
YouTube itself.
yeah. I think like Otawada would be better off if she would join the panel and really and really express her opinion about class action against YouTube.
Yeah, maybe someday. Maybe someday. So yeah. I think. I mean, what's happening now? I mean, YouTube can't can't not be hearing from this community of creators. I don't think that they can be deaf to that. So they're probably hearing uh, you know more than an earful, and I have to assume, right? I have to assume they are doing their best. Um, Now, whether they are or not, I'm not exactly sure. And if if mistakes are being made, hopefully they can be, found to actually be mistakes, and things are restored. But yeah, I mean, if it was me, I would just have it be, basically the Wild West, right? Just post up anything, and let the markets, right? Let the free markets sort of dictate which and which ones aren't. And if it turns out that the ones that are popular are just all the filth and everything else, and it's like, well, but that's what people want. So
now, would you think you would be better off if you was a Twitcher instead of a YouTuber or a Facebooker?
as soon as I possibly can, I am going to be doing this both on YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to simulcast. So I'm going to have both. Yeah, I think, and YouTube has lasted a long time. Twitch is relatively new, but the platforms are slightly different. The user interface is slightly.
I think at
different.
least the Twitch platform is not that very abusive like the YouTube's.
Yeah, like Atta said, YouTube is nice because it sort of keeps all the old videos around. So I mean, if you want to find out anything about anything these days, right, you can find it, either on the internet itself or probably some kind of a talk or a demonstration or whatever it is on YouTube, right? I mean, I was having a problem with um, um, a hot water heater, and so it's like, okay, I'm going to go, and I did a search on YouTube for that particular brand of water heater and the specific problem I was having, and there were several videos showing exactly what to do in order to fix it, and it's like, it's amazing, right? But I mean, we're still in our youth with all of that, so
yeah. It's like Aurorae said. I even found a movie showing me how to put together a metal shelving unit. Yeah. Yeah, the best Twitch channels archive their best content on YouTube because Twitch will only hold the VOD a few weeks.
yeah.
Which Twitch is a wide platform.
Right. Yeah, but that's my relatively short-term goal is to.
If I want to see stuff live, I want to see stuff live. I don't want to go with VOD and stuff.
Yeah. There's the live stuff, of course, has a different feel to it than the recorded stuff or the archived live things. So yeah, there's a spontaneity here and all of that. So
out of curiosity, would Twitchers would be using archive.org for their stuff or YouTube?
I think, as Uncle Bill said, I think a lot of the good Twitch channels actually archive their video on YouTube, which I think is a great idea. Yeah. Good idea. But yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to get onto Twitch relatively soon. I don't have any,
Now, how many people actually knew archive.org, the Internet Archives?
I've known about it ever since it started, which was a while ago.
So if many more people would know what archive.org is, would there actually be competition between YouTube and Archive?
I don't know. if there would be any competition there, because I mean, people can put things on archive right now, right? So I don't know if they are or not, but I haven't heard about anybody suffering as a result of that. So I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. I've been posting some papers over on my Discord server, and what I wanted to do is go over there and take a look and see if anything sort of pops out at me. Europa's optical aurora. That's kind of interesting. We looked at the HST observations of the asteroid the other day. So, yeah, let's see. A rapid occultation event in NGC 3227 was kind of strange.
I don't know, because I don't have an archive account, Uncle Bill. Or because usually, like when you say something about archiving samples of what is published, I think that's usually like your Wayback Machine and stuff. But like I said, I may never ever would know.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly either. I don't know if you can upload things. I thought it was just a it was just a copy of, you know, web pages as of a certain date.
Yeah, that's usually called a Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
I think it's possible to do archive.org like YouTube, but I'm not sure.
Well, let's take a look at auroras on Europa. Optical auroras. So that in and of itself is pretty extraordinary. I'm going to get my my smartphone running here. Should have done that a little while ago, but no worries. Mute that. I think it's muted. Here we go. Okay. All right. Well, cool. So let's dive into this and see what they're talking about here. Auroras on Europa. Hide that. So Europa is is one of the 4 Galilean moons of Jupiter. It's the second closest one in of those 4. And Europa is I think it's actually the smallest of those 4 moons. If I remember right, I think it goes Ganymede is the biggest of the 4, and then Callisto, and then Io.
Not to change back to the subject, but Wayback Machine is only a portion of our type, to be sure. We have found audio files, videos, PDFs, and all social stuff in other parts of it.
Cool. Very cool. All right, let's take a look here. Catherine DeClear and Michael Brown, Caltech. So the auroral emissions provide opportunities to study the tenuous atmospheres of solar system satellites, revealing the presence and abundance of molecular and atomic species, as well as their spatial and temporal variability. Cool. Nice. Okay, so yeah, and I thought that this was true, that they had um, seen aurora on all the moons, but in the ultraviolet, right? But here they're talking about visible wavelength, and I guess they're thinking that it's atomic oxygen. So they observed with Keck 1 and the HST while Europa, the actual moon, right, was being eclipsed by Jupiter. So, you know, when Europa in its orbit is going around Jupiter, sometimes it goes behind Jupiter, which generally means that Jupiter is between Europa and the Sun, right? So the shadow of Jupiter is sort of cast on Europa, and oftentimes we can see this from the Earth. It's doesn't happen all the time. The angles have to be right and everything else, and it sort of varies, right? Sometimes we're not able to see that at all, and sometimes we can. And so what they did, right, is they observed Europa while Jupiter's shadow was blocking it, which is a brilliant way of detecting any kind of activity on the moon itself, because you blocked out all the sunlight. So that's a great, brilliant way of doing that. And in so doing, right, they were able to actually see visible wavelength auroras. Very cool. So let's see. Energetic particles in the Jovian environment. Okay, so let's just sort of take a look here. So these are the observations that were made, mainly with HST. Now I wonder, I'm sort of thinking that these images, and actually these aren't even images, these are just spectra. So they don't really have any images. They have spectra. STIS, I don't remember what that stands for, but it's the spectrograph on the HST. So very cool. Yeah, they just let's see, they don't have exposure time. Oh, yeah, on time source. So yeah, relatively long exposures, couple minutes, right? Well, I guess almost 10 here. A little less than 10, a little more than 10. Here's 20 minutes here. So anyway, so, not really a lot of data, right? Not really a heck of a lot, but as I say, spectra are very, very rich when it comes to, lots of information. So the Space Telescope Imaging Spectrograph, STIS. Let's see. Okay. So there's HST and here's Keck. Also with a spectrograph or spectrometer called high res. Cool. So thick and variable cloud cover obscured Europa in many of the integrations. Okay, so the Keck data doesn't look like it's very good data, but maybe good enough to sort of be all right. Okay, so there we go. So these are Keck spectra, and we're looking at emission.
A lot of Europa is a very interesting place. Probably has liquid water, oxygen, and maybe some microbial life. Who knows?
Yeah, it's that is one of the candidates that we've sort of identified as maybe having, you know, some kind of life on it. As I said, right? I mean, I think it's just a matter of time that we find life. I think it's pretty much everywhere. So yeah, we just have to look for it, and it's you know, regardless, right? It's going to surprise us, right? It's not going to, probably, at least not going to be anything like what we thought. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's nothing at all. Don't know. Yeah, so here's just some Keck spectra at 2 different wavelengths. Okay. And here's the imaging spectrograph. So these are slightly different. These are, I guess, what you could call an image. It's what they've done here, right? Now here, let me show it to you this way. So if you take a row, right, just one row across here, 1 pixel wide, and you plot the data values, right? Obviously, these are going to be higher, right, because it's a brighter source. And these are going to be lower, right? They're going to be sort of wiggly. So if you just take a cross section here through this, you'll get basically what these are, right? So the HST just has a way of doing this, you know, for multiple rows. So they're looking at these things and they're saying, okay, we think that we see sodium. I don't know about that. And they think that they're seeing oxygen, right? And that's pretty clear, right? That there's, you know, something interesting there. I say that there's something interesting sort of here too. But sodium, you know, just because you know where to look doesn't mean it's there. So I don't know about that. Don't know about that one. And then here's just up the wavelength a little bit more. They're trying to identify a hydrogen line, which, again, I'm sort of like, yeah, I don't know about that. And I'm sort of thinking that this oxygen line is the same wavelength as this one over here. So it's obviously different data, but I think they've identified the same feature in 2 different spectra, which is cool. Okay, so they actually do have a image of sorts. So here is supposed to be Europa, right? This dotted this dotted line. And this is where they're seeing the emission of those oxygen lines. Is right, well, peaked here, but obviously sort of extending a little bit around. So, yeah, pretty cool. Seeing aurora on Europa. Oh, and it changes. Of course it does. Of course it does. So again, here's Europa. I mean, where it would be, right? And if it wasn't in shadow, right, then it would be extremely bright and wouldn't be able to do this. But yeah, look how things sort of change. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so this is just looking at things in two different wavelengths, right? And I'm not quite sure what the difference is between the top and the bottom, but you can see that it changes over time. Sure. Let's see. So the upper two rows are taken with the grating centered at 6094 angstroms, and the lower two rows at 6518. Okay. All right. Okay, I gotcha. So yeah, lots of variability there. So a lot of action, It's pretty cool that they, were able to make these observations over the course of a couple of months, right? Not too bad. I don't think they gave any indication about how bright it is, like a visual magnitude. I wonder if they do that anywhere. They're going to be getting into modeling here and all of that. I'm not going to. Just wondering if they have any info on how bright, like a visual magnitude, they think this thing is. Zoom in a little bit more here. Electron impact dissociation. Yeah, they don't say how bright it is. It can't be really, really bright. I mean, if they're having to use Keck in order to see this, that's a big light bucket. That's a huge, huge light bucket. So probably pretty darn faint. Probably not anything that is going to be seen with a small telescope. But I don't know. I'd like to know how bright those are. But I don't think we're going to find out here. Probably not. I'm going to give it a quick scan just to see if they give any indication of magnitude. If it'd be anywhere, it'd be around here somewhere, and I'm not seeing anything. Oh well. All right, but pretty amazing.
Now, what's on Hearts of Space this week?
I don't know. I actually I posted their show over here. It's called Minimal Groove. Minimal Groove. So, yeah, that's kind of sounds interesting. So maybe I've got to set my computer up in order to record it again. But maybe I'll be motivated to do that tomorrow. Yeah, so very, very cool. They're taking advantage of an opportunity to observe these, which are probably pretty faint events, but pretty nice. Pretty nice that they're seeing oxygen being ionized in the atmosphere of Europa, and we're actually seeing that emission. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Well, I think I might just call it a short one today. Let me look at the chat really quick. Thank you, Uncle Bill, for the link. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? We're going to be sending a spacecraft back to Europa. Definitely within the next 4 or 5 years, I think. So. I think they're planning on some kind of lander.
I know we're going to send one to the Titan.
Yeah, I think they're. I don't know if one. I mean, I'm sure that there are plans for Titan, but I'm not quite sure if it's a done deal or not. The one to Europa, I think is definitely a done deal. They're actually really going. So yeah. Well, you know what happened? At least in the movie 2010 or 2001, right? 2010 also, right? It's like all these worlds are yours.
2001.
Yeah. It says all these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there. So we're going to Europa and we're going to land. So, oh well. All right, you guys. As I said, I think I'm going to call it a little bit of a short night. So hope you have a great evening, a great day wherever you are. Make sure to hit the thumbs up if you so desire. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. This is just a fun, casual get-together, talking and thinking astronomy for a while every single day. And I just think it's fun. So, we look at papers and you just think all kinds of astronomical thoughts for a while, sort of wash everything else out and just focus on that. So it's really fun. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. You can hit the notifications. Yeah, I think that's it for now. So I will see you in 23 hours and 2 minutes.
Now I just want to let you know I won't be here tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. I'll send you a link anyway, and just to stay consistent, right? Because I think if I don't do it once, I'll probably forget to do it. So, all right. Everybody take care, and I will see you on the spin. All right. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Later.